Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world. And I hope you're in a really good place. This is, get- oh, shoot. I think that there's, hold on one second. Remember, Mercury's retrograde. So, does that fix everything? Oh my gosh. I love it when you see aspects in action because then you know that astrology is real. Can you hear me, by the way? So I had to get a new computer, and so it finally came. I ordered it weeks ago. Mercury retrograde, but I have it, and I'm very excited. And so everything is like plugged in, and yeah. How are y'all? Let me know if you can hear me. It's so good to see every single one of you, and thanks again for hopping on board because I know I do these last minute live streams, but it's really when I do that gut check. I'm like, okay, there's some things that I feel like we should talk about. And today's a great day. The moon is in Sagittarius. You may be feeling that. The great thing about the moon in Sag, I like the moon in Sagittarius, and you're definitely going to possibly feel a little bit more tonight when the moon will sextile. The moon's going to sextile the sun and Mercury. And so I love when the moon in Sagittarius, you've got Mercury and Leo. And so there is this merging of the physical mind and the higher mind, but also just this merging of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your subconscious. So it's a really great time. Tonight, I feel like a lot of y'all are going to feel very expressive, be very open-minded to new ways of thinking, new experiences, find ways to be inspired. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. And it's going to happen a little bit later. I'm clocking it in my head. But it's definitely going to happen. And it's a, really great time to manifest. You're going to be feeling optimistic, maybe even restless if you're on the East Coast, because it's going to be happening later, like maybe around midnight, East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. But it's fiery. I mean, you've got the moon in Sag, the sun in Leo, two fire signs. So you may feel a little bit like, oh, I got to do things. I got to feel things. So keep that in mind. How are y'all doing? We just came after a really big weekend. We're still in a big weekend with Venus for Saturn and Neptune. And one thing that I was going to say is that this week is the first, last week was the first week in 3 years since I launched this channel. I wasn't able to do your weekly forecast. And I think a lot of y'all know why. I have been going through I'm calling it Uranus on my ascendant vortex, but then you throw in Mercury retrograde on top of that. So I felt really bad. And so hopefully, I still went on those live streams, just these quickies with some astrologer friends. So those are up. So that's really great. And I don't want to leave you hanging, but because August is such a big month. But thank you for all of your comments, your kind comments about me and Ruby. I am in physical therapy still. That's going to be a few months. And then Ruby as well. She's hopping along. She's hopping along. We're doing the best we can. But you've seen Uranus on my ascendant. You've seen a lot of things happen. So, oh my goodness, it has been a month. And I'll probably tell you a couple things because I'm going to tell you some aspects that we're going to go through, and like even the new computer thing and so some of your forecasts. So I am working on your forecasts for next week. So I'm back and I'm finally going to have your forecasts for all 12 signs next week. We're, going back to, how it was. And so thank you again for being patient. I think a lot of y'all saw a lot of just changes happen. And it actually started on the day Mercury went into shadow, I think it was June 29th, June 29th, June 30th. And so a lot of y'all may have had experiences from that moment forward. And that when Mercury goes into shadow, I don't really talk about this that much in your forecast. because we really just focus on the Mercury retrograde. But a really good way to think about this is when Mercury goes into shadow, that's when you kind of have your big Mercury retrograde moments. And it's a Mercury retrograde where you fix it, right? So it's June 29th, June 30th. For me, that was when I was ready to show you, walk you through greatawakener.com, and you saw what happened. Everything just kind of went downhill from there. And then I figured out the whole situation with the mic. I know a lot of your forecast audio was just mysteriously going really low in certain forecasts. I talked about in the last live stream. We, discovered that it was my computer. Something was happening that was making the volume just go down by itself. That's why I had to get a new computer. And so that's what I'm talking about, like all the fixing things. That was all when Mercury went retrograde. So that was me fixing everything when Mercury was in shadow, when I was redoing, revisiting, reassessing, reevaluating. Like that's so a lot of and Mercury and Leo, for me, I'm a Gemini rising, so that would be my third house. So communication, internet, technology. And, Mercury is my chart ruler. So it really does have an impact on me when Mercury goes retrograde. But a lot of y'all may see that happen in your lives. And so it's just really, again, so interesting for you to see it happen in real time. No? And I had to put out a lot of fires. I had to work with a lot of different people for the Great Awakener, and I didn't get much sleep. July, I think I said in my last live stream, I haven't had a July. I never had a July. There were 2 weeks I worked over 100 hours, and just Ruby. It was a month that Ruby decided to wake me up at 5 a.m, 6 a.m. every morning. I'm going to bed at 1 a.m, 2 a.m, doing work, because I'm working with about 7 different people. And so my mind is flipping from, okay, developer, designer, this, that. So it's really like Uranus has been making my mind jump, but it's fine because I've everything is now, I'm going through my big breakthrough. And so there were a lot of other things happen that maybe one day I will tell you, but let's just talk about Venus square Neptune and Saturn this weekend. I don't know if anybody has any stories. It was a strong, Venus square Saturn, Neptune. That happened on Friday. You're probably still maybe feeling it. And one thing that I will tell you, as part of my experience with Venus square Saturn and Neptune, as part of Saturn and Neptune and Aries conjuncting, and they're retrograde, and they're part of the Prism portal, the rare grand trine. And so it has an impact. It really brings in that Uranus and Gemini energy. Anyway, long story short, I was this past weekend had an experience of fraud. Venus is money. So it turned out that, and this is one of the reasons why that I kept hitting delays, everything that Mercury retrograde does, right? Hitting those delays, but also a lot of just things coming to the surface. Pluto in the mix, Pluto in Aquarius is part of that Prism portal. And so it turned into a situation that was a little bit more, it was escalated. And I don't think I've ever received like death threats, but that's how strong Venus square Saturn Neptune was for me. And so that story's not, there's still, that's still being fixed. But, and it was just, and I'm not taking it in a way where it's like, because I know that I was in the right, and it was a scammer, and there was a mediator with the place that I hired them from, the platform, and they were on my side. Let's just keep it that way. But this person was, I had to like block them, and it was a whole thing. Venus square Saturn can be intense. And so I hopefully that anyone that experiencing anything, especially with love and relationships and money and even like creative projects, creativity, like there could have been that little squeeze this weekend. And so that's just something to always remember. You're on a karmic journey. Yeah. And that's one of those situations where this other person was trying to bring me into their low energy frequency, and I wouldn't allow it. I wouldn't allow it. And even at the end of the day, I was just like, I don't even care if this person who didn't do any of the work gets paid. I just know that I'm being my authentic self, and I'm not letting anyone take my spirit. And so it was a very interesting, what is it, learning experience, a teachable moment. I don't know, one of those things. But last week I did have two astrologer friends join me. We did those videos, and we broke it down for every sign, and we did talk about and they're time stamped, so you can go back to them, and I'll leave them in the description box here. And I think I already did, but I had Christian Klausner, and that we talked about Venus square Saturn, Neptune. And remember, this is a storyline that everyone's going to experience, so it's a really good idea to really look, because it's happening right now. And because Saturn and Neptune are retrograde, we're going to have it again, so it's a good way to be prepared from any experience that you have this moment. And even if you don't have one, again, we're going to have it again. It's going to be at different degrees, but it's going to be, yeah. So that'll be in December. But I love Christian. I hope that if you saw the video, he's great. And his readings, it's so unique and it's so different. It's very nice because it's almost like he's trying to read your soul. And it's so special. And it was really great hearing his story, because he lives in Maui. And so the day of our live stream, the night before, is when the earthquake happened. And remember, they had the warnings of the tsunami and whatnot. So, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the earthquake and the tsunamis, okay? Because I've been getting your questions. But we'll talk about that in a second. But the other video I did was with S.J. Anderson. He's been on my channel. I've seen a lot of your comments on how, when he was on my channel, I think it was last year, he was my first guest astrologer. I love S.J. I adore S.J. The way he speaks, it's like poetry in motion. I think he does have Mercury in Pisces, but he's really great. And I know there were hundreds of y'all that, got birth chart readings with him. And I see that you left messages. Some of y'all seen him more than once. So really excited. He does really great chart readings. But we did talk about the full moon in Aquarius that's approaching, and Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune. And remember, those are the two malefic planets, Mars and Saturn. That's happening next week. So remember, these are the two challenging aspects of August. There's a lot of amazing things happening in August. So these are little speed bumps. So again, I'll leave in the description box, because we go through every sign. We isolate these moments, these aspects, the full moon for every sign. They do the astrology, and I did the tarot. Gave me time to not, because it's like every week I spend between 15 to 20 hours doing all your forecasts. And so I just did not have the time. I was working like 80, 90 hours. I just did not have the time. So I'm just very grateful that, they were able to join me. I remember Mercury was retrograde, and that was like very last minute. There were so many like bonkers things that were happening last week, but hopefully you get a chance to see those. Those were really fun. We had a lot of fun. And the other thing is that greatawakener.com. Yep. Remember, I see it as a blessing in disguise, the delay. And greatawakeners.com is like where I will be doing, I think I walked you through this, but and you can go to the site now and sign up for updates. But I've been working this new developer, this new team of people. Again, there's multiple people I'm working with, and he is amazing. And it's so funny because he's this whiz kid, is one of those people that you see on like TV. And I even said, like, you're like Doogie Howser. And he was just like, who? Like, yeah, he's young, but that's why I'm saying he's like this whiz kid. He's brainiac. And it's just like, talk about someone who sees the it's like he's bringing in tech from next year into my website. It's just bonkers. And that's why I see it as this great blessing in disguise, because there's so much more that I can offer you, and there's so much more that we can do. And oh, it's turning out really well. And I am gonna warn you, it's a little like he's really good. Like, he's really good. So it's turned into something that's a little bit more than was originally planned, because it's so it's like it's bigger. It's bigger than set than what I had walked you through before, but very professional, very professional. All those features are there. And I don't want to make any announcements here while Mercury is retrograde still, but I will be launching it the second week of August. I'm not going to tell you the day yet, because I want to wait until we're a little bit out of the woods with the Mercury retrograde. But yeah, so I'm very excited. So that's literally, what is that, next week? And I will do another live stream next weekend, the weekend of the full moon, to walk you through it, because it's exciting. And like I said, I gave him a deadline that was a little bit earlier than what I'd set aside for the launch, just to make sure if there was any troubleshooting, anything that we needed to change, we would have like a buffer of days. But yes, greatawakener.com, where I'm going to be doing longer predictions and even channeled messages, going deep into more world events, global events, things that I can't say here. And everybody should know the reason why at this point, but I'll make it very clear on that website. But there are multiple reasons why I do have to hold back. And you're probably seeing it now. And so remember, I can see things. And one of the main reasons you're seeing it now, how there's a lot of content creators on YouTube, especially, who they will say, oh, we can't say this word, or we can't say this. And that's because there's a lot of restrictions that's happening on like YouTube's policies in terms of sensitive events and controversial issues and whatnot. And so your account can be flagged and things like that. So again, I saw this a year ago. It's happening now. So everyone that was saying, oh, you can say you're fine. No, I knew this was going to happen. And it's not even just YouTube. I mean, you're seeing changes happen in the social media space, right? You're seeing, I don't know, was it Spotify? The big news about Spotify, how they're using AI to determine how old someone is to listen to. Yeah. But there's a lot of changes. AI is a thing. It's a thing. So yeah, that's going to be on my website, because it'll be on my platform. And so I will be able to speak a lot more freely. That's Uranus on my ascendant, Uranus and Gemini. But also remember, courses, learning astrology, divination, tarot, how to be psychic, how to trust your intuition. I'm going to be walking you through, and these are going to be full on courses. I want to walk you through it in the main live stream that I will do next weekend. But everything there is really just a way to give you the tools to be your own spiritual warrior. Birth charts, we'll do that, like guests there, everything is going to be covered, everything. And that's why I'm so excited. It's because it has given me room to not make it just about me, but bring some great people onto the platform as well. And remember, they're all live streams. It's no like download this and have access to this pre-recorded video. No, it's all live streams. You can ask questions. You can, I mean, like, it's all live streams. And yeah, if you happen to miss a live stream, you're still going to have access to all the live streams, the archives. So anyway, so yeah, I'll set the, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. I'll set that up. I'll set up the live stream for next weekend and for the rest of the, for all of August too. How are y'all doing? I missed y'all. Y'all are amazing. If you have any questions, and I don't have my moderator with me today because this was a last minute thing. I was just like, I need to tell them a couple of things because I'm getting a lot of questions about certain things that we'll talk about, but just remember the site, greatawakener.com. Again, you can just go to the site now and sign up and just to get updates and times and things like that. I'm really excited to show you. Oh my gosh, it's like I'm about to cry. I'm excited to show you. And remember, it's to inspire you, empower you, educate. Yeah, education. Okay, connecting. I really wanted to build this community. It's having this community. There's no fear mongering there. There's none of that. Okay, there's certain, yeah. Okay, no doom and gloom. None of that. None of that. All right. So, what else? One thing that I did want to discuss also is like, I've been repeating in your forecast this prison portal. I really want you to get it in your consciousness. I want you to write it on a sticky note right now. Put on your bathroom mirror. Put on your closet mirror. Prison portal. Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries. Sextile Uranus and Gemini. Trining Pluto in Aquarius. You're feeling it. You're seeing it play out in the world. Okay? And remember, you want to put yourself, you want to take all that inspired action now, put yourself where you want to be by February 2026. That is a big month. The Great Reset, Saturn conjunct Neptune and Aries at 0 degrees. I have to make this very clear. That is a world axis. These two, like when you look at their orbits, it's okay. It just has never happened. Okay. It's never happened. And like I said, maybe 10,000 years ago, maybe 20,000 years ago, I've heard a lot of different things, but definitely not in modern human history. I think 26,000 years ago was the main, but it was, I don't even think it was 0. I think it was 1 degree, but that's what I'm saying. It's like 1 in a quintillion chance for them to meet up at 0 degrees, happening 3 days before the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, with a million other things happening February 2026. And remember, everything changes in September. Eclipse season. So you want to prepare now. August is the best month. And to be honest, you're going to be starting to get glimpses of where your life is going to be by February 2026. So continue to create your reality, because one thing that's happening is that Saturn and Neptune, yeah, that's playing a really big factor. But remember what I said, in 3 days from now, what did I say? In 3 days from now, you're going to have Mars move into Libra. Mars is officially leaving Virgo. Feels like Mars has been in Virgo forever, but Mars is officially moving into Libra, creating that grand air trine. That's a lot of information, a lot of cerebral moments for y'all. And of course, it affects everyone differently. Every sign is affected differently by that, but you're still going to be impacted. And everything that's happening now, especially with Saturn and Neptune conjuncting, and just being there, co-present, it didn't even matter. I mean, remember what I said is like, even with just Neptune retrograde, that reveals a lot of deception. And in my channeling sessions, I think I told you about coyote. I kept saying coyote, coyote, coyote. And so when Mars moves into Libra on August 6th, yeah, it's going to form a grand trine with Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, opposite Saturn and Neptune. There is a particular word for this. And I just like to keep things very comprehensive for y'all. Just because I know I throw a lot of astrology at you, I bring up a lot of other things that, some others may not, based because I have to. I'm a Virgo moon. I'm a 29-degree Virgo moon. I'm a Gemini rising. I have to. I'm an Aquarius. I have to. So that's why your forecasts are always long. I can't leave anything out. I'm like, you got to know about this. But it's what we call a kite formation. It's a lot of energy. Let's just keep it that way. Okay. And does anybody here, do you feel like what's real right now? What's real? Is that even like when you watch the news, if you're going on social media, does your mind go through, is this even real? That's what's happening right now. Okay. That's what's happening. And that's why it's so important to, be in touch with your higher self. There is an element of like illusion. Remember those lower frequencies of Neptune that I talked about? Saturn can be really hard. Saturn's reality check. Saturn and Neptune, you got to work with their energies. They want different things. Saturn wants to build, Neptune dissolves, but also Saturn limits. Saturn restricts. Neptune has no borders, no boundaries. Neptune is nebulous. Neptune is also fantasy. And so let the Great Awakening begin. It just started. June, July, but August, remember, is a big peak of it. Big. And it is a really big shift into like the metaphysical. You're gonna see, and one of the reasons why I wanted to launch the Great Awakener is because I have to go through my live streams. That's the one thing is like, I've always been a one-man team. I've done everything alone. And so I need to get to a point where I can, and that's the other thing is like, I am going to just start. Remember, I quit my job. I quit my full-time job, the Great Awakener, at the company that I worked for, where I had a really good setup. I was C-suite. I worked my way up. I had a really good package, stocks, the whole deal. I gave that up to do the Great Awakener. And I think, and because it's more important. And I will be talking about consciousness a lot there. Okay. One of the things right now is that people are waking up. You're seeing through a lot of things. And there is a level of, even like if you do the math with Mercury and Leo, and there's just a lot. Uranus and Gemini ruling like media. There's a lot happening where I think that it's like the lowest. I don't know. And again, Mercury's retrograde. So I don't know the data. All I know is that from what I've heard from sources, we're at a point where it's been the lowest level of trust with the public and like media, like mainstream media. And we're there now. And Uranus and Gemini is going to completely change that landscape. And as well as trust in like, leaders and institutions, big institutions. I've said this for months. I've said this for months. And that's the thing is hopefully I will be able to go through, all my old live streams so I can bring some of these, and I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to like show the receipts. I know a lot of people are like, where do I find this? Where do I find this? Where did you say this? And that's why I'm doing like, you'll see the reels, and I'm trying to do that because I know I wasn't, you know, again, being a one-man team, I can't like time stamping, all of that. So, and also I just wanted to do forecasts. I just wanted to do your horoscopes. I just wanted to, you know, do your astrology and tarot. And that's why I think I said from the beginning, like, I never really wanted to be known like for being able to predict things and all that, but I knew that I needed to. I knew I had to tell you some things that were happening that were beyond your forecast. So anyway, you're seeing a lot of what I said now with this coyote, deception. And it's even got to a point where there's news outlets that at the end of a story, you can grade their it was like they're like fact checking, or how factual did you find this? Did you find this unbiased? Like, it's gotten to that point. It's gotten to the point you go on like X, formerly known as Twitter. Anything anyone says, you go through the comments, half the comments is like, at Grog, is this real? At Grog, can you explain? That's how much like no one knows what's real anymore. Nobody knows what's real. It is the most bonkers thing. And I try to stay off social media. Like, I have to go on because obviously I got to put up your, you know, oh, your forecasts are out. You know, I have to do that. And again, that's just more stuff that I have to do. But yeah, I'll see those things and I'll see stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that's when that's like half the comments for something someone writes, like, what? So we are at that point. You're seeing it play out, and it's just going to continue. That's why I say, as long as you trust your information, you will know what's real and what's not real. That's that power of connection. And that's how I am, you know, able to do it, because like I said, that I trust the source. I trust the information that I get when I'm channeling, when I, you know, meditate, when I have these moments. And it's why I haven't ever been wrong. And it's, again, like, if you know me, I'm not, you see, I always get you see me get a little bit nervous when I even just like try to even a little bit promote myself or say something about myself. So it's not always easy for me, but like, you know, when I do say that, like, it's, I am at 100% accuracy. Like, I've never been, but it's not me saying it's me. It's not even me. It's the information that I'm receiving. So anyway, I think a lot of people are talking about like the veil getting thinner too. Yeah. I want to make that clear. There's really not, it's more about just humanity becoming more conscious. I've talked about this. 90% of what's upstairs is the subconscious, 10% is the conscious. So that is changing. Okay. That's going to be changing. You're going to see that. And I'll talk about consciousness. I'll speak about that on Great Awakener and even here at times. But one thing that I did want to mention is, I don't know, I should be timestamping, but that's the thing. I don't even know where you are. I've lost you on my screen. I'm gonna have to try to find you. Oh, there. Okay, so there you are. All right. Mercury retrograde. And so let me do that. I don't know. So let me get into, I don't even know. You know what? I don't even know. Let's just say, like, what's the time? I don't even, so that's the thing. I have to wait. Oh, wait, no, there it is. 34:28. Okay. I can do that. I'll write it down. Okay, so now let's get into some of the, well, actually, does anybody have any questions about anything, like, at all? It's so great to see you all. Kelly, Denise, Carrie, Marty, all y'all. Yeah. Denise, you say, I think that, oh yeah, I remembered. I can do this. I can show. Oh wait, there we go. Yes, great point. You got it. You got it. So this is something that I said last year, but also like when I was a guest on Amrit's show, Inspired Evolution. Did you see that? That was back in May. And what's funny is that I did predictions on his show. And remember, I wanted to make those exclusive for him. So some of them I didn't say on my channel. But I just realized the other day, like, oh, they all came true now. And so I gave him like 6 to 10 predictions, and they've all come true. So very interesting, very interesting. But yes, that's something that I said is that you're gonna see some breakdowns for some breakthroughs, and in many ways. And that, yes, absolutely, is something that's happening. Because it's all about the truth coming to the surface now. All the truth needs to come to the surface. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But great point. Great point. And I'm glad that you see that. There's also, okay, now let me find the tab with my notes. Okay, so now predictions. Well, let's talk about some that did come true. So I think that everybody knows that I did make the prediction of the Megaquake back last year. And then I did some reels to just bring it back. And I mentioned it on Amrit's show as well. But so I made the prediction of the Megaquake last year. Okay. I think it was August 2024. And then I just kept bringing it up because it just didn't go away. And sometimes things do go away when I'm channeling. This one didn't. It got stronger, stronger, stronger. So that's how I knew this is going to happen. And then I brought it up again on July. Was it July 27th or June 27th? One of those dates. But I think it was the day before it actually happened. I have to check. Again, Mercury retrograde. But I brought it up again just very recently before it actually happened. And the thing about that, I told you that I had seen back in May those cracks underwater. And so I said, that's the indicator. This is going to happen soon. I think I told you about lava, volcanic activity, etc. And so July saw just I think it was like a historic number of like volcano activity, earthquakes, all leading up. And I even said that, yes, now all the data is coming out where I think they're called seismologists and geologists. They were starting to see the proof. They were starting to see like, oh, there's something unusual happening. And then it happened on July 29th. And then you may have seen the clip where I talked about last year, but also on Amrit's show, which was recorded in April 2024. It aired May 2020. I'm sorry, April 2025. It aired May 2025. So I had given him a couple countries that I had seen, in terms of earthquake activity, April 2025, and it aired May 2025. And you had seen all of those countries have major earthquakes in July, and then the last one in Russia. And then Hawaii was just, the tsunami thing, but I'm going to tell you something in a second. But here's the thing is that, okay, I don't know how to say this. All right. So yes. So that prediction. So when I predicted the Megaquake last year, I kept bringing it up throughout the year. I went on Amrit's show. I even said it there, May 2025, and I brought it up again in June, and then again in July, and then it happened July 29th. That one, it's not over. Okay, so that's what and I just don't know how to tell you this, but that's not over. And I'm not a earthquake expert, a seismologist, if that's what it's called. And so I did some research. So I made sure that I gave you something, like, right? Just like, okay, so I made the prediction, I saw it happening, and it happened. That's just proving the psychic part, right? But I wanted to like show you actual data or data. And so I don't know if there is, but it's definitely not over. What I've learned is that there's supposed to be a bigger one after that one. So I don't know. All I know is that it's not over. And so just keep that in mind. That's all I'm trying to say while Mercury's retrograde. I can't even say what I'm trying to say. But I do have Mercury retrograde in Leo in my third house of communication. So someone had pointed out the earthquake in New York. Yes. New Jersey. Yeah. And I think that I had mentioned in my last live stream that I'd seen something. I think that I pointed out the Mississippi River. There may be some stuff happening on the East Coast in terms of earthquake activity. But yes, you're going to start seeing. I don't think that you're just going to, like I did say, you're going to see strange weather and like strange locations and even geophysical events. But here's the thing. I did say, I think it was my second time that I mentioned it when I was talking about the cracks in the ground. I was talking about, I think I said that it was like a black hole underwater. And I remember saying this on Armid's channel, but I did say there was some like foul play. And we'll talk about that on the Great Awakener. And so, and I'm not saying that in a way that I think there are some, and I'm going to look into this, but I think there is, maybe there's some numbers that's not being recorded accurately. Maybe there's certain earthquakes that are happening that are, again, maybe not being recorded accurately or not being recorded, or I don't know what it, like, I just know that there's something that fell off when I was channeling. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And it does have to do with all those underground cities, let's say, underwater that I saw. They're not really cities. They're just, let's say, facilities. Yeah. All right. So Mercury retrograde, making sure that I'm trying to say this in a way where I'm just like, I don't want Mercury retrograde to like take that from me. But yeah, I even think that the one that happened on July 29th, I know that and this goes back to, you know, that level of trust. I know that that was not 8.8. No. That comes later. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. If that makes any sense. If you can catch my drift, okay? And the one that comes later, it might be a little bit bigger, but I just feel that there's something off, and I'll spend a little bit more time thinking about it and meditating on it and channeling. And that's the thing, is like, I've just been so back to back. You know, when you have those days where it's like you go from doing one thing to another, you're making everything by 1 minute, and you got this event, you got this call, you got to go over here, you got to go walk your dog, you got to go cook, then you got to do this, and then you get this phone call. Everything's like back to back, hour to hour. That's what every day's been like me since June 29th. And so there are some days where I just don't have time to, you know, take that time to channel, because you got to prepare. It's like a whole thing. So yeah. What else can I tell you? So that's that one thing that just remember I said 2025 is going to be the year of the 4 C's, or it's going to kick that off, right? So I said that's consciousness, that's courage, that's the collective and community. That's going to be the 4 main themes you're going to see playing out throughout this year. And one of the reasons why I say that community is part of it, I hope you're starting to see that now. It's your community that you're going to have this stronger relationship with. You're going to have a lot more moments where you're going to be getting to know your community, a little bit more. And it's also, that's where you're going to have your trust in others and the communities that you build. Okay. And so that, I just want you to keep that in mind. I wanted you to keep that in mind. There is going to be a lot of changes. And again, it's the prison portal. You have, I mean, Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is change. We have Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto's transformation. And Uranus and Gemini, Uranus being in an air sign now, very different from Uranus and Taurus that we were going through for 7 years. I mean, that's accelerated change. Remember, it's revolution too. Your personal revolution. There's a lot that's going to be happening in the next 2 years. And technology is, there's so much attention. Uranus going to Gemini, it just brings a lot of attention to technology. And Saturn, Neptune right now can bring a little bit of that confusion as we enter this new era. And so remember, they're both retrograde. So it's asking you to go within to ask yourself, what is real? What is real for me? What is the reality that I want to create for myself as well? And just a lot of things that are happening right now. And it is in a time where things can be a little bit overloaded because there's so much astrology happening. And again, once in a lifetime, like astrology we've never experienced ever. Pluto and Aquarius, 250 years, right? Neptune and Aries, 164 years. Nobody's experienced Uranus and Gemini, 84 years. And so remember, it's not just that they're in these signs for the first time since that long. They're all aspecting. They're all connecting. They're all making things happen with these aspects. And I did get a comment. I loved it. I wish I had saved it from someone who was, I think she said she was 84. So a subscriber who lived through Uranus and Gemini. So I really love that. But just so you know, there's that's what I wanted to tell you about. The earthquake is that the one that, the Megaquake that happened on July 29th. That's not it. It's not over. That was just, and I don't want to call it like I don't know what the correct term is, foreshock, or I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert in this, but it's just not over. And I just don't believe that it was 8.8. And that is something that is I forget the name of the actual organization that reports this and makes it official. But remember what I said about your trust and make sure that things make sense to you. Yeah. I think that it was upgraded like really fast too. Yeah. But yeah, that it's not over. And I think they call it's that ring of fire. But you're gonna see, but that's not, there's more. And in my books, I have the list. I have the list of more countries, other countries, and when we have more time, we'll go through them. But that doesn't exclude like flooding and power outages. And even if you think about the earthquake, that's going to bring flooding and power outages. So again, the 4 C's, courage, right? The collective, community, consciousness. And so it's just really interesting to see a lot of what is happening on the global stage and what the public, what we are experiencing and how we're starting to see things, right? That at face value, and seeing that a lot of these, I guess, organizations, and even like, if you want to go broad, yeah, I would even say like maybe things that happen in space, or even like archaeology. Archaeology is a big one. Archaeologists, I think it's like 70% of them are, funded by, the, so that's why we don't know our history, but the real experts, the ones that know, they're the ones that are silenced, by the way, right? They're the ones that know. And that's what I'm saying, is like, you're just going to start seeing a lot of things change. And I told you in many live streams, like, our history is going to change. We're going to start learning a lot more of the truth. And we are just going through a lot of, that there's a lot happening. The economy, tariffs, money, all of that. So it's just, you're seeing an overload of just a lot of information. There's going to be a lot more to come, and that's what's going to tell you. It's like, there's going to be more. A lot of things that were happening even in July, like beginning of July, that's not over. So that's what I'm saying, is spend time doing two things: developing your intuition, trusting your intuition, really not second guessing yourself, because there's got to be a lot of things that you see and you read that may be a little, and even just being mindful of not letting anything get you to a point of like doom scrolling. That's just something that, happens when there's a lot of activity like this. But also, it's, there's even like creators that'll do thumbnails that are very like, so just be mindful of that. But again, the great thing is that people are waking up now. People are waking up, and it is a time where people are waking up, and you're seeing things that are happening. You're seeing some deception with big news files and stuff, right? You're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of exposures. You're seeing a lot of things that are being exposed. And we can go to institution to institution to institution and go through a checklist. And so there's a lot. So just know that everything is made of energy, frequency. I talk about this all the time. We're all striving to be the best version of ourselves, being our authentic selves. And this is heart-based living, not ego-based living. It's heart-based living, okay? And so when I say that, if, again, like, you're in a situation where someone's trying to bring you into this low energy frequency, do what you can to bring them out of it. If you can't do that, if they refuse, you did the best you could. Work on your karmic journey. Yeah. Everyone's going through karmic experiences all the time. It's what karmic cycles are. And ultimately, at the end of the day, because this world is going to change, we are entering a new world, a new era. You're seeing it. And again, it starts with those breakdowns. And so sometimes, even in your personal lives, and I can attest to this, you do it the hard way. But I feel like when you go through the hard way, you come out a lot stronger than if it was the easy way. And that's why I'm so strong. That's why I'm so strong right now. But yeah, we want to think about it, the changes are going to be big. They're going to be big. And it's a 7-year, it's like 7-year process. But remember, 2025, 2027 is when it kicks off, when it's the strongest, the most pivotal 2 years of the decade. And then it's just, there's going to be a lot of like transformation, transition into new systems, very new systems. And we get to choose. We get to choose our path, our reality, but we have to do it from heart-based living. All right? That'll determine the path. And you want to, and I bring this up a lot, you want to think about the younger generations. What kind of world do we want to live? You leave them, right? What kind of world should they live in that's, you know, more nirvanic and euphoric? Because there are going to be some things that are, well, I mean, I'm sure that everybody knows there are just some things that are fundamentally wrong with some systems. And once those change, that's a big breakthrough. That's a really big breakthrough. So there may be some other events, again, that are going to happen soon. And, you know, weeks. So just keep that in mind. You're going to hear a lot more stuff too. And you're going to see that you're just starting to see a lot more clearly in terms of who is on your side, who's taking care of you, who has promised that they've been taking care of you, but they maybe forgot or had different plans. You're starting to see that. I think that I actually saw, oh my gosh, I forgot that I was looking at the data of something that popped up, but you know, when we live in a world where I think it's like 8% of the 1% have more wealth than the entire world. Yeah. It's like the time where people are going to say no, right? No, absolutely not. And the report that I saw was like 20 years ago. I think it was like a smaller percentage, but still, how did that not phase anyone for decades? But now you're starting to see people wake up and like, nope, this is wrong. And now I see how this works. I see all the dots. And I see how I see, okay? And again, we'll talk more about this on my site, The Great Awakener, but it's just like some things that are even like of disbelief, right? When you have these big corporations and tech companies that are integrating, you know, digital privacy, we'll talk about it, but you know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, does anybody have any questions? Because there's going to be a lot. It's just like, how do I can't even, like, we could be here for hours. And that's the thing. That's why I'm so excited about my, website, because I'm going to be able to talk about a lot more without holding back. I mean, you're going to see, I'm not going to hold back at all. I want to tell you everything. And remember, a lot of this is because it was a lot of the messages that I was receiving that I couldn't believe. And I just, at a point I was like, what is that? And I kept saying other things. And so I think, it's just important to spread this. But again, again, I know that most all y'all here are awake AF, but there are people out there who are not. Who are not at all. And so some of the things that I would say may be a little much of what is happening, and it takes some time to absorb. And I'm saying that from experience. When I saw some of the things that I saw, it took time for me to really understand. And then I did. And I even told you there were some things that I saw where I was in so much disbelief that I had to go look at other remote viewers and just go and kind of like, there was one that was just binging their videos. Like, did they talk about this? Did they talk about this? And then they did. And I was like, okay, good. There's my affirmation. I'm not like bonkers up, you know, like, okay, I am so glad you saw that and talked about it. And I think there was one other remote viewer that I saw that saw the same thing too. So it's like, okay, I'm glad, because I feel like that's where it's like, you know, how will y'all react to some of the things that I say? That could be my biggest concern. But again, I just, you know, I hope you understand, like, I've just always been unbiased. I'm not here to, all I want for you is to get to a frequency of love. Everybody. That's all I want, the whole world, right? Just, you know, get past this divide and have everyone see each other as human beings again. That's all I want. That's all I want. So yeah, I think that was, I don't even know if that was even a full predictions thing. I did say the hurricanes are going to be a lot stronger. I think they start in August. You're going to see bigger, stronger hurricanes. There is really going to be like a big your big changes in a lot of different ways in August. And again, I've already talked about a lot of these in even just the past 3-4 live streams, those predictions. But yeah. But yeah, just big changes. I think the earthquake was the biggest one. Okay. So again, it is an earthquake where it's not over. The megaquake that happened July 29th, not over. And there's still more to come in, you know. That I don't think that was the big one, but there's still a lot more that's going to be happening on the world stage, and, you know, political events and you know, countries in the Middle East, as well as that I think I may have written some stuff down. Did I talk about like housing? I said something about housing is something there this month. But oh yeah, maybe did I tell you this? There's it does seem like that, in addition to another quake that's pretty significant, because remember, there's quakes that happen every day, but again, a significant one that'll be soon. Certain files may be okay. Like you're gonna, but again, I don't think it's coming from like let's just say there's gonna be activity and movement there. Yeah. All right. Does anybody have any questions? And remember, if you ask questions earlier, feel free to leave them again, because I probably didn't. I'm going to have to like go through, like scroll through, but yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how to like timestamp this video. I feel like I was Mercury retrograde and me on 4 hours of sleep. And I've been recording your videos this morning as well. But I knew I needed a break. I was just like back to back to back. Your forecast for next week. And I'm excited. And I want you to get excited. Remember, luckiest week of the month. I mean, you got Venus conjunct Jupiter on August 12th. And I'll go ahead and tell you the surprise. It's a triple conjunction. Okay? Which means it's Venus conjunct Jupiter, conjuncting a fixed star, Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, all at 14 degrees. And so that is just like, it's a wealth star with Venus and Jupiter. Venus, love, money, relationships, all that, but also Jupiter, which expands and is abundance. And Jupiter being exalted in Cancer, where it does its best. So yeah, every sign is gonna feel this. It's the same day that Mercury goes direct. I mean, that is a day, but The North Node is so activated. In fact, Venus will be trining the North Node that week. And so I'm really excited that this is the week that I return to when I'm doing your forecast. But I think the last time Venus trined the North Node, that would be, I'd have to look it up. That would be, I would say like 2007, March 2007. Let me see. So when we get to when we get to August 11th to the 17th, yeah, May 2007, there can be, you may get a little bit of, that's when we had the North Node in Pisces last time and Venus in Cancer trining it. So you may get some deja vu, but I also tell you about other dates where, there are some things that are happening August 11th to the 17th that are picking up things from the past and bringing them forward in a great way for everybody. So I'm really excited. So again, some, challenging aspects that you're going to feel the first 2 weeks, but then after that, you get rewarded. I did get a bigger, what do you call it? Whiteboard. Okay. So Jack, you asked, will you be teaching? Will you be teaching about intuition on your site and how to connect? Yes, 1000%. And that's one that I'm really excited about because it's all coming from, it's not like it's just someone who, is very intuitive and teaches intuition. Like I'm going to be telling you from experience. And I think that's what matters the most. I think that it's like one of those things where I feel like I can really get you in a place where, I always say everyone's wired a different way, but I can really get you into a place from, first-hand experience on how to trust your intuition. But I'm a Virgo moon. Virgos are the best researchers. I will tell you, we'll go through the history of intuition. We'll talk about your pineal gland. We'll get into the physics or the biology of it. I'll tell you about how ancient civilizations, which I'm fascinated with, what they thought about intuition. Yeah. And how the world is set up now where it's harder to trust your intuition, whether that's, who knows, but I'll tell you some things you can do to, get around that. But yes, absolutely I will be. Nicole, you asked, what did you say? West Coast tsunami? You did talk about, I believe. Yeah. I brought that. I mean, again, that was like, if you're a subscriber, if you've been with me for, for a year now, you will know that's one of the first things I said. I kept saying California, earthquake, tsunami, all last fall. So again, there's still more to come. So Deepa, you said, Jimmy, what happened with the Schumann resonance this week? I actually, to be honest, I haven't even had time to look at the I'll do it now. I'm sure. And that's the thing with the Schumann resonance, all that solar activity. Okay. So I'm going to tell you two things right now. Okay. One, solar activity, solar winds, solar flares, things that have to do with the sun. They have big impact on our world, on our electromagnetic field, on earthquakes, on things like that. And so when you're being told it doesn't, it does. Because we're in a place where there's information that proves it. When there are, I just learned today, actually, because I was trying to research, trying to get you data, okay, how can I support this? Because it's just a psychic vision that I'm giving you, but how can I give you data other than telling you that it is experts, seismologists, geologists who in July started seeing a lot of things, but Yeah, I think that, you know, you've been told, and I've been told for a long time, you can't predict earthquakes. You can. You can. It's just like astrology. It's pattern recognition. So you look at patterns, and that's how you can. And I think there's software out now that allows you to. And I learned this today. I just found out today. So just interesting. But oh yeah, Schumann resonance. Um let's see what's going on here. Oh yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. You can see, oh gosh. Yeah. You can see that. I would say it's been pretty off the charts. That's pretty off the charts. Oh gosh, my phone is so, I gotta clean my screen. HN, maybe I missed it. Is there a date for the Great Awakener? Yes. So I was saying earlier that because Mercury's retrograde, I don't want to make an official date or anything like that right now, but it's planned for the second week of August. And it's planned for around the first half of that week, like the 11th, 12th, more like 12th, 13th. But I will do a video, a live stream like this next weekend, next Sunday. Okay. Either Saturday or Sunday. I have to look at my schedule, but I'll do a video doing like the presentation. I'm going to walk you through the site. It should be ready in a few days. And I know there's going to be a couple tweaks we have to do, but it should be ready to present then. But again, with Mercury retrograde, I don't want to make anything, but that's the idea. All right. So I will let you know. I'll set up what do you call it? Like one of these, a live stream date for next weekend, and I'll walk you through it very quickly and just show you, because it'll be ready for you. You can just go onto it, but I want to walk you through it and show you some things that are gonna be really exciting. But thank you for asking. Thanks for asking. Okay. Let's see. Lori, oh, that was the USG says that their global and that local agency are best for collecting accurate earthquake data. It is best for comparing earthquakes across the globe. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk. We'll talk on the Great Awakener. Oh, Lori, that's a good question. Anything on Atlas 13 headed towards Earth? Well, here's the thing. I think, and that's, again, I think that's been so, and speaking of what I said about YouTube, and this is so relevant to this, because this is one that really kind of like blew things up in the YouTube community. But Atlas 13, or is it 3? It's 3I or something like that. But I know what you're talking about, that meteor everyone's talking about, which doesn't act like a meteor. I think that we will know, from what I've read from like actual independent astronomers, we will know, I think by this week and a few days, its trajectory with Mars or something like that. And I think based on that, they can tell whether it's like a meteor or if it's something else. But I think we should have more information this week. But again, I just feel like that's just something to, let's be very mindful who we're getting information from. And what I was talking about YouTube is that there's a lot of AI generated content, and YouTube's been cracking down on that, because that's probably been taking up a lot of your feeds, where it's a lot of AI generated content. So I think they're just demonetizing that. I don't know whether, but it's just like, so again, that's bringing a lot of shifts and changes to this platform. So, but that's a good question. And yeah, I think that, again, we will have more information this week based on how it's traveling through Mars or around Mars. I hope that's helpful. Darlene, thank you. You said you registered on my new site. You'll be emailing us when it's launched. Yes, I will. And that's why I wanted to get, because I wanted to gauge the level of interest, because I know that it's not for everybody. I know that, that's why I said this channel, I'm not changing it. It's still going to be what it is. And like when I say that, maybe there might be a couple things here and there. I don't know, but I just don't want to say anything while Mercury is retrograde. But I just know that I'm not assuming everybody wants to, join that. And that's perfectly fine. Some of y'all just want your forecast and that's it. So, but yeah, there's you will be getting an email. And it's going to be a fun one. So I encourage everybody to sign up if you want to get information. And yeah, there are going to be more classes than intuition. There's going to be so many. I'm just so excited to tell you. But again, it's just I'd rather do it during the full moon in Aquarius, me being in Aquarius, just, closer to Mercury going direct, telling you what you can expect, because there's a lot that I think you're going to be very excited about. I know I am. Carrie, thank you so much for staying up so late. I know that you're out in South Africa. When will you start your courses on GA? Yeah, that will be, again, with Mercury retrograde, you know how it goes. I'll say something now and it's going to change. And so that's why I just really, I will say that I'll make that announcement this weekend around the time of the full moon. It'll be either Saturday or Sunday, and they will start right away. Okay. In August. But there will be a schedule. There's going to be a calendar of events. Okay. And it's going to be a very interactive calendar. But again, I just don't want to, yeah. Remember, I'm an Aquarius. I'm ruled by Uranus. Gemini is my rising sign, and Uranus is in Gemini. And so this is all about the future and tech. And there's, again, a lot of things that, and I'm not saying it's like, ooh, super high tech, high advanced, but I'm trying to think about things that when I had this second chance, I'm trying to think about things where I was like, okay, well, I want to build a site that you would find in the year 2027. Something really exciting, something seamless, something just sharp, and so that's how my brain was working. And that's why, again, like, I really wanted to I really saw it as a blessing in disguise. Cecilia, you get to see, you said, does diet play a significant role in tapping into your intuition? What am I consuming? Yes, absolutely. I would have to say that it really depends on your birth chart. It really depends on your frame of mind. I feel like there's a lot of people that would say there are certain foods that could be a little, have an impact, but everyone's unique and everyone's different. So I don't want to say that it does play a significant role. What I will say is that I think that it can shape a little bit of how you receive information. I think that it comes on your chart too, your birth chart as well, because there are a lot of asteroids and fixed stars, like Ceres, for instance. And it just depends. There's so many factors, but I would really say if you feel that it does for you, then you might want to adjust your diet. But I know with my diet that I have, I'm not the best eater when in, you know, stressful circumstances, like the past month where I've been eating chocolate every day because that's the only thing that I have to have dark chocolate when I'm stressed out, and it's been one of those months. But it hasn't had an, but I've been doing it for a long time. So I think it's case by case, but short answer, it really depends on you and your chart, because yes is the answer, but it's going to be different for everybody, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Roberta, that's a really good question. Are there other worlds, beings in the ocean? Yes. I'll talk about it on the Great Awakener. But yeah, I think I talked about that we do live in a 3D world, right? And that's fact. We live in a world that's, three-dimensional, but we know that other dimensions exist and they're all around us and we just can't see them. And so there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a shift. And then when you say like beings in the ocean, yes, there's a lot that I've seen. I don't know if you remember, there was this one session that I did when I kept saying was taken underwater like the entire session. I was shown things. And yes, there are like tunnels and facilities, and I would even say cities, but not, they're more like neighborhoods, but yes. Mm-hmm. Good question though, good question. And that's the other thing, is that again, just a lot of things that we don't know. Yeah, well, the public doesn't know. Okay, one of mine, that's so funny. You said 85% of all internet content will be AI bots within 2 years. Well, I hope not. It really, here's the thing. I think that you have a really good point, and this is a good time for everybody to, if you work in a space where you feel that AI might be, I know that a lot of people have had concerns about AI replacing their jobs and, things like that. Take that step and to learn something new. You have a really good window right now for the next 2 years. Okay. I'm not saying that it will or it won't. I'm just saying you have a really good window right now with Uranus and Gemini trining Pluto and Aquarius. You have a really good window. Saturn, the entire prism portal, really great window. So I wouldn't say that 85. Well, so again, I think the internet will change for sure. And you're going to see more of like AI, like ChatGPT, those type of platforms becoming a lot more advanced. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Technology really is, I mean, we are at that place, at that stage in like our evolution. Like it didn't just happen overnight. It was built in, it's like baked into like our evolution. So it's there. Nicole, you asked, is Nevada gonna be okay? I don't think I saw anything in Nevada, but I do know that there's just so much activity that happens there. Like in the deserts. So I personally haven't seen anything, unless I did. Again, like and I'm gonna have to one day just put all my notes on in a timeline or something. But I don't remember seeing anything that came to mind, unless it's already written and I forgot. But as of this point, nope, you're good. Spontaneous alchemy with Dakota, will the bonus readings still appear here? Oh yeah, of course. Like I said, nothing's going to change. Well, but I don't want to say this during Mercury retrograde, but for now, I don't plan on changing this website because, like I said, like the Great Awakener is just an extension where I can speak more freely, where I can teach courses, where others can teach courses, where we can talk a lot more freely, we can be more interactive and things like that. So yeah, I'm still just going to be doing what I do here. But again, I don't want to say I don't want to look like in Mercury's retrograde, and that's Mercury's retrograde in my third house of communication. If it was retrograde like in a different part of my chart, like I'd be fine, but I'd be just like, I'd say things, but it's like just because it is retrograde where it is, that's why I have to just be mindful with what I'm saying. But as of this now, as I've said, like I don't plan on changing anything. But again, let's have this conversation in a week from now when Mercury goes direct. But yeah, I'm still doing the bonus readings here. Okay. Leslie, good to see you. You can't wait. You signed up. You're coming to your third year. Oh, thanks so much. Leslie, so good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, it is a really big week coming up. And I hope that, again, like, take advantage of everything that's happening for you. I really love a lot. There's so much you can look forward to, but it is that Mars Saturn opposition that could, yeah, some of y'all may never feel, everyone's different. Some of y'all may not even you'll be fine. Okay. I'm seeing someone say something about an eruption in Indonesia. Yeah, that was one of the, if you're new, like that's one of the countries that I saw. All right, y'all, I gotta go. Adele, you said excited for your new website. I just signed up. Our Italy, Spain, and Dominican Republic going to be okay. Very close family there. It's safe to travel there. And the next few months, other than I think that it was in Italy, I saw. Was it a volcano? I think I saw a volcano, but it wasn't. I didn't see any like you'll be fine. It was just like another one. I didn't see anything in these places specifically. I mean, yeah. But that's the thing, is that there's bigger things that are going to be happening. So I'm not saying that you just continue living your life. That's what I'm saying, is like there's still going to be like, but you can't, like, you just don't know, especially with like blackouts and power grids and things like that, which I still feel are happening. And it's been happening. Like, hello, New York City. It was like, but not like all of Manhattan or whatever, but there was, but yeah, you should be, I'm going to tell you that you do you. Again, it's all about you trusting your intuition. And when I say that, I personally have had moments where I had a trip planned and I, a day before, 2 days before, I just intuitively felt like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I feel like I need to be here. And so I don't know what would have happened if I had gone, but I didn't. That's what I'm saying. You just go with your intuition and you're going to be fine. And that's for everybody when it comes to travel. Obviously, don't go to places that are, don't go to the middle. You know what I mean? Like, don't go to places where there's activity. But that would be your intuition anyway, saying, or even like logic, like, okay, I'm probably not going to go to, you get what I'm saying. I hope that Mercury really is having an impact on me, but I hope that made sense. And I'm glad that a lot of y'all are eating dark chocolate. Darlene, good. I love that you wrote this, and this is good for everybody learning and using AI to build your business. You get things completed much faster, less expensive than in the past. Yes, you got to see AI. It's here. It's already, like, it's not. We're not going to wake up one day and it's gone. So you got to learn how to, it's best to learn how to use it and, familiar yourself with it. So it is going to be a big part of our lives moving forward, like a really big part. So it's a good time to get to know, like, darling, that's great, that's perfect. And you can benefit, from AI. And I did say that even AI is really good at bringing up, if you're doing research, like, whoa, you don't have to like go through like 10, 15 websites anymore and just read it. It's just like instant. If I'm, like, what happened in the year 14, 16, this happened, it pulls it right up. So all right, y'all, anybody, okay, I gotta go, I gotta get back to your forecast. I only got a few more left, but I definitely wanted to start early, so I made sure that I got them out in time. But thank you so much. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for being patient with me too. It's been like such a rough week for everything that's going on. So I'm sorry for missing your forecast last week. I'm coming back. We're going resuming as normal this upcoming week. And yeah, I think that's really it. I was getting so many questions and comments about like the earthquake and a lot of other things, but they were gonna, and yeah, like files and stuff. So now I now all right. So now that you have that in your consciousness, it's like, if just use that, okay? And in ways where maybe it is a good idea to, if you live in any of those areas where there can be some activity, just keep that in mind. Maybe, have some water on your, get a carton of water. There may be some, I don't know. Like, again, I said I'm not a prep, like, I don't know. But I'm going to research that. I'm going to research that and I'll let you know. Okay. In terms of prepping or whatnot. But that's how big of a thing it is. You saw that it was, alleged, like the 8.8, but you see it's now possible. And that's what I'm saying. You just want to be prepared now that okay? Because like I said, there's more. Okay? But also, you have amazing stuff to look forward to. World astrology, very different from your personal horoscopes, what's happening. And then I'm even looking at your calendar. Just wait. I mean, August 12th, when you have Venus conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Sirius, everybody has something to look forward to. Everybody. And I tell you 3 reasons actually why it is, I would even say, the luckiest aspect of the year, because of 2 other things that are happening with it. But I'm sticking to the month. It's the luckiest aspect of the month for sure. It's the only Jupiter aspect of the month anyway. But because of what's happening with it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is insane. It's so special that we get to experience this type of conjunction that's going to happen. So, okay, y'all, thank you so much. Y'all are amazing. I'm going to try to leave some timestamps, but yeah, so I will set up another live stream for next weekend for the, Great Awakener. I can't wait to walk you through it. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to show it to you. Oh my goodness, it's been over a month. Like, and I'm going to show you what, 14-hour day of work is like. Like, you're going to see it. You're going to be like, oh my goodness. But again, remember, I'm working with like the Doogie Howser of like, developers. And it's a little bit like, he really went over the top with a lot of, but it looks great. It looks great. Okay. Oh my gosh, Jackie, thank you so much for the super sticker. Y'all are amazing. That I really appreciate it. And I know I'm already losing my voice. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I got to get back to your forecast. I just finished Pisces. And if you are Pisces sun, moon, rising, just I'm not gonna give anything away, but just know that week of August 11th to the 17th, Venus is going to be trining the North Node in your sign. Like, you have so much happening that week. Like, you have no idea how amazing. But that's because I just finished Pisces, and now I have to do Aries and a couple more signs. All right, Jackie, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kelly, Nicole, Diane, Deepa. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Deepa, you said your Pisces moon. Well, August 11th, the moon in Pisces is going to conjunct the North Node. You got a lot to look for. There's stuff happening. All right, y'all, I got to go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you very soon, and I will set up a live stream for next weekend for the Great Awakener. All right. Thank you. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.